So we'll start on our back. And let your arms be down long by your sides. Palms face up. The yoga people will tell us allows you to receive energy from the universe. Palms face down will keep the energy that you have circulating in your body. Close your eyes. Let the feet relax, they'll fall away. Breathe through the nose. If it would be more comfortable, you can feel free to place a folded blanket or towel under the head. Initially, as we're lying here, do a little scan of the body, starting with the back of the head and moving down, focusing especially on those parts of the body that are touching the mat. Relaxing each of those places, letting those muscles soften. Let yourself sink into the mat, feeling like you and the mat are becoming one and the same. And once you've relaxed and settled in, focus on the breath. Feel the breath coming in through the nostrils, filling the belly and the chest, and then going back out. And as you breathe, with each exhale, let the body settle and relax just a little more. And begin to associate your exhale with a softening, relaxing body. An important component of yoga, in addition to our physical movement, is our breathing. And we're going to engage here right now in a yoga breath that's designed to be relaxing and calming, called the bumblebee breath. I want you to take a deep inhale through the nose, and then you're going to exhale through the nose, and you're going to let the lips vibrate, making the sound of a bumblebee. So when I do that, it will sound something like this. And you'll notice that was a long, slow exhale. And I could feel a little vibration in my lips as I did that. I would like you to take 5 of those bumblebee breaths where you breathe out very slowly through the nose, letting the lips vibrate. Here we go. think that was my fifth one. Finish your bumblebee breath. Open your eyes. And let's move into a full body stretch, sending the arms overhead, fingers pointing behind, toes pointing forward. Relax the feet, bend the knees, bring the feet flat to the mat. Send the hands straight up so that the fingertips are pointing toward the ceiling. Let's begin by opening and closing the fingers. Let the hands come to gentle fists and begin to circle the wrists. Change the direction of your circle. Come to stillness. Let the fingers point toward the ceiling again. Bend and straighten the elbows. And then let the hands come down to the side. Extend the legs out long. Now, in order to work our shoulder muscles and shoulder joints a little bit, we're going to do something we did for the first time last week that I called snow angels in a perfect pose for today's weather. Begin by lifting the hands up off the mat, turning the palms up, and then begin to sweep the arms in a circular motion so that the hands come back together over the head and the thumbs touch. Now, if your shoulders won't quite make that circuit, feel free to stop wherever it is comfortable. Don't go into a position that causes you discomfort. Once you get the hands together or as close as you can, swing the hands back down to the sides, keeping the palms face up. Now you'll notice as we move here, hands are moving again in our circular motion, swinging together. You'll notice a couple things perhaps. One is that we're doing this slowly, so we're not making the snow angel motion really fast. A second thing is you may feel the stress and stretch in the shoulders as we move through this rotation. One more time with the palms face up and the hands come together or close, and then the hands come back down, arms swing back down by the sides. Lift the hands up off the mat again, but now turn them so the palms face the floor. We'll rotate those arms out just like we did, but now you're going to find when you get up to about the halfway point or just past, the arms won't go anymore, and bring them back down to the side. So with the palms facing down, the range of motion for our shoulders is more limited than with the palms facing up. And we'll slowly circle the hands and arms around until we get to the point where we can't go any further. We hold that little stretch and we come back down. One more time. Arms come around in our circle and then back down to the sides. Let's open and close the toes, working on our feet just a bit. And rotate your ankles. Reverse the direction of your rotation. And let the feet come to stillness. With both hands, grasp behind the right leg, just below the knee, and begin to bend and open and close that knee, and then straighten the knee. And release that leg back out long. Left leg, reach under behind the thigh and begin to bend and straighten the left knee. And release that leg down long. We're going to move through a flow here that will be good for our hips and knees. Some of you who have been with me before have done this, so this won't be brand new. Let's begin in a full body stretch with the arms overhead. Now, bring the right knee toward the chest, keeping the left leg long, and sweep both hands in front of that knee. Pull that knee in tight. Flex the right foot. Send the left arm away from the body in a kind of a T position, and let the right hand guide the right knee down to the right. Hold this open position for just a moment or two, feeling a stretch in the inner right hip. Now the right knee comes back to center and the left hand swings across and grasps the right knee while the right arm goes away from the body in a T position. The left hand guides that right knee over to the left, twisting the torso, letting the right hip come up off the mat, and putting a little stretch in the outer hip. Now the knee comes back to center and both hands grasp the leg behind the thigh. The leg straightens and the sole of the foot faces the ceiling. The hands pull the leg back toward the chest. And we release the leg, letting the leg fall and the arms go out overhead into our full body stretch again. Other side. Left knee comes back towards the chest and both hands sweep around, grasping the front of the knee, pulling it in tight, flexing the foot. The right hand releases away from the body in a T position while the left hand guides the left knee down to the left. We hold this open position for a breath or two. And we bring the left knee back to center. The right hand swings around and grasps the left knee while the left arm extends out. The right hand guides the knee over to the right, twisting the torso and bringing the left hip off the mat. We might feel a little stretch in the outside of the hip. Left knee comes back to center. Both hands grasp behind the leg. Fingers interlace and we pull that leg back toward the chest, feeling stretch perhaps in the hamstrings, maybe in the calf. And then we release, the leg falls back down and long. The arms go overhead into our full body stretch. Now we're going to move through that sequence again, but a little bit more fluidly and a little more quickly. Right knee comes back to chest. Both hands grasp behind the leg, or in front of the knee, excuse me. Both hands grasp in front of the knee. We pull that knee in tight. Left hand releases and goes away from the body. Right hand guides the right knee down to the right. Knee comes back to center. Left hand comes across and grasps the knee. Right hand goes away from the body. Left hand pulls the knee over to the left, letting the right hip come off the mat. Knee comes back to center. Both hands grasp behind the leg. Foot faces the ceiling while we pull that leg in toward the torso. Releasing the leg, letting the leg fall down and the arms go overhead into a full body stretch. Left knee comes back toward the chest. Right hand, both hands come around and grasp the front of the knee, pulling it in tight. Right hand releases away from the body. Left hand takes the left knee down to the left. Knee comes back to center. Right hand comes across and grasps the knee. Left hand goes away from the body. Right hand pulls that knee over to the right, letting the left hip come off the mat. Left knee comes to center, both hands grasp behind the leg straightens, sole of the foot faces the ceiling. And pull that leg in tight. And release, and everything comes back to a full body stretch. Very good. Let's bring the hands down by the sides while keeping the legs long. Now, turn your hands so your thumb faces the ceiling and your pinky finger is on the floor. We're going to do a little variation here of a movement we've done in the past. We're going to begin by raising the right leg up, and the left hand will come up to meet it. Now, as they come down, we're going to send the right leg off to the right and the left arm out to the left. So we're in this kind of wide split position. And then we're going to make a little swing in with those two parts of the body to come back to where they belong. Left leg lifts, right hand comes up and touches or gets as close as possible to that leg. Then the left leg goes off to the left and the right arm goes out to the right. And we swing those body parts back in to our starting position. Other side again. Right leg comes up, left hand comes to it. Right leg falls away to the right, left arm falls away to the left. Now, as we do this, you might notice a little additional stress on the right hip and the left shoulder, and that's our goal. Then we swing in a kind of a circular motion, the arm and leg back into their starting positions. Left leg, right arm come up. They fall away. Left leg out to the left, right arm out to the right, and swing back into the starting. Let's do each side one more time. Right leg, left arm, fall away. Right leg out to right, left arm out to left, swing back into starting position. And left leg, right arm. Left leg goes out, right arm goes out, and swing back into starting position. Very good. Roll over onto your left side. Keep the legs long. Use the left hand or left arm to rest the head. I'm going to take my right hand and place it down here on the mat in front of me as a kind of additional support. We're going to start here with the upper leg, which is my right leg. I'm going to lift it up just a little bit. I'm going to send it forward, up, back over the left leg, and down. It almost carves out, my foot almost carves out a triangle. So my right foot will go forward, up, back, and down. I guess it's more of a square, huh? Right foot forward, up, back, and down. Two more times on this side. Right foot forward. Now we're going to hold this a moment or two. Up. If it's in your practice today to hold it for a moment or two, do that. Back over the extended left leg and down. Once more. Forward. Up. Back and down. Very good. Switch over to your right side. I'm going to change positions on my mat here so that you can see me. And now the legs are long once again. I'm supporting my head with my right hand. My left hand acts as a little support here on the floor. And legs are long. I'm going to lift my left leg up just a little bit. Forward, up, back, down. Forward, up, back, down. Forward, up, back, down. Two more. Forward, we'll hold this just a little bit longer. Up, we hold a bit longer. back and down. Last one, forward, up, back, and down. Okay, very good, excellent. Roll over onto your stomachs. Bring your hands under your shoulders and push up into tabletop. So in tabletop, we're on all fours. Knees are under hips, wrists are under shoulders. Gaze is out ahead of the hands, maybe 8 to 12 inches. Feet are flat on the mat. Let's begin by doing a little stretch of the bottoms of the feet and the toes. Curl the toes and slide the hips back as far as you can so that it's not painful or terribly uncomfortable. And as you do that, you'll be putting a stretch into the toes and the bottoms of the feet. You have the option, if you wish, to add a little rocking motion to this, to slowly slide forward and then back. One of the things you might find as you do this is that in adding this motion to this position, we're able to actually move back a little further and put a little extra stretch in the feet. If you're rocking, come to stillness and come back down into tabletop, letting the tops of the feet come to the mat. Let's begin with some cat-cows. On an inhale, drop the belly, lift the head, cow pose. Exhale, round the back, let the head drop down, cat pose. Inhale the cow, belly drops, head lifts. Exhale the cat, back arches, head comes down. Inhale the cow. Exhale the cat. Now continue moving through these poses, letting your breath be your guide. Inhaling to cow, letting the belly come down and the head go up. Exhaling to cat, letting the back round and the head come down. Close your eyes as you move through these two positions. The next time you come from cat to neutral, stop and come down onto your forearms. So we're in a kind of a forearm table, we'll call this. So the legs are still pretty perpendicular to the floor from the knee to the hip. Begin by lifting the right leg up, turning the knees so that the right foot comes down closer to the floor, closer to the mat. And the right knee, the right leg, the lower right leg is stretched out over that extended left leg. Now, take your right knee and see if you can pull that right knee up toward the ceiling a little bit, which should open the right hip. You might feel a little stretch and stress in the right hip. This is a position we sometimes do from downward facing dog, but from here it's much easier on our wrists and just as effective on the hip. Bring the knee back down to the mat. Other side, left knee comes up, left knee bends and the left foot goes out across the extended right leg. Pull that left knee up toward the ceiling, opening the right hip. And bring that right knee down to the mat. Now, as long as we're here, we're going to move into a position called puppy dog pose. In puppy dog is similar to child's pose, but a little different. So from where we are here, to get into puppy, all we need to do is bring our forehead to the mat. And from the knee to the hip should be straight up and down. See if you can find a position for puppy pose that's not too stressful on any of the joints or muscles, that allows you to sink into the pose. Many times finding a comfortable position in puppy is a matter of finding just the right spot for the head. Continue to breathe. Come back up into table, and then come all the way up so you're standing on your knees. I'm going to turn and face the camera here so you can see me well. We're going to begin by moving into gate pose. So in gate pose, we're going to take our left foot and extend it out. Now, if you can, your toes will face the long edge of the mat. That may feel a little stressful on your hip, and so you might choose to point your toes off at an angle, which will relieve some of that stress on the hip. We're going to begin by sending the arms out parallel to the mat. We'll make a little flow of this. Begin by tilting over to your left, letting the left arm come down to the left leg, and sending the right hand up high, and then the right hand will come down and the right arm will come down over the ear, stretching the right side. Your gaze can be at the floor, it can be straight ahead, or up at that upright hand. Gazing up at the hand can have the most effect on your balance, and it can be a challenge. Now we're going to take and bring both hands out to the sides again and continue to tip over to our right, letting the left hand rise up. Now, my fingertips on my right hand are not quite touching the mat. I can get down there to where they touch the mat, but as long as you can maintain your balance, the fingers need not touch down there. And come back up and tilt back over into our gate pose, extending the right arm over the head. Think about where you want to put your gaze, and we'll flow again over to the right side. Flow back one more time into our gate pose. Other side. Right arm comes around and down. And then we come back to where our arms are parallel. Bring our hands to our hips. Left knee comes back down to the mat. And on the other side, the right foot extends out. Again, your toes can be pointing straight to the mat, or if that's a little bit too much stress, let them go at a bit of an angle. We'll begin by extending our arms out long, tilting down here to the right, letting the right hand come to the right leg, stretching the left arm high and tilting. So we're stretching that left side. Once again, gaze can be at the floor straight ahead or up at that hand. We'll begin our little movement here as we tilt over to the left. Left hand comes down toward the mat. Might not reach it. Your left hand might be way up. That's okay. Back into our gate pose. Right hand comes to right leg. Left hand over left ear. We tilt again back over to our left. Flow over to the right into our gate pose. And one more time, we'll bring that left arm down so that the hand comes to or toward the mat. Arms become parallel, hands come to hips, both knees come to the mat. Very good. Before we leave our standing position, let's move into our eagle arms. Extend the arms out long. We're going to bring the arms across, letting the right arm cross the left. The elbows kind of rest on each other. And if you can bring your hands up to this position, that's great. If you have enough flexibility in your shoulders to bring the backs of the hands together, that's good. The other option you have, and the most challenging position here, is to let the palms come together. Once you get to whatever position you're in, see if you can raise the elbows just a little bit. This is eagle arms, and we'll stay here for several breaths. Release, let the hands go out long. Cross again, letting the left arm cross over top of the right. And again, you might have your hands close together. Backs of the hands might touch, or your palms might come together. That all depends on how much flexibility you have in your shoulders today. Once you get to where you're going to go here with this pose, let the elbows come up a little bit, closer to shoulder height. We'll hold this position for several breaths. And release. Oh, while we're here, before we move to our next position, let's move the shoulders up, back and down, up, back and down, up, back and down, up, back and down, up, back and down. Very good. Move back into your tabletop position. Extend the right leg long, then the left into a high plank. Now, if high plank is not in your practice today, feel free to stay down on your knees into a low plank. That would be just fine. But ultimately, curl your toes so that you can push your hips up and back into downward facing dog. Begin to pedal out your heels, stretching the backs of the legs. Let the heels come to stillness. Look up between the hands and step forward into a forward fold. In your forward fold, bend your knees as much as you need to take any pressure off the low back and perhaps the backs of the legs. Let the head hang down loose, neck is relaxed, shoulders relaxed. Inhale to a flat back, hands on shins or thighs. Back is more or less parallel to the floor. On an exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come up halfway. Now cross the arms, letting each hand cradle the opposite elbow. Make sure that head is relaxed. In a ragdoll pose. Begin to turn side to side. You'll notice one arm is on top and one is on the bottom. Switch those so that the bottom arm comes to the top. Come to stillness, and on an exhale, fold forward. On your next inhale, push the feet into the mat. Rise all the way up. Let the hands come up high, palms come together. And then the palms come to heart center. Drop the hands down to the sides. Raise the arms up high, palms come together. Let the gaze follow the fingers. Turn the palms away and fold forward, bending the knees. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rising all the way up. Hands come up high, palms come together. And then the hands come to heart center. Send the hands down by the sides. This movement that we're doing, this flow, is called a half sun salutation. We'll do another one of those. Arms come up high, palms come together. Palms turn away, we fold forward, bending the knees as much as we need to. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come all the way up. Hands come together. High overhead, palms come to heart center, and the hands come down to the sides. Now we're in our mountain pose, Tadasana in Sanskrit. Check that your feet are about hips width distance apart. Once you're happy with your foundation, once you feel like you've got about equal weight in each foot, and about equal weight in the front of each foot and the back of each foot, and the left side and the right side of each foot. Once you're there, close your eyes and turn your palms to face forward. This is the traditional mountain pose. I want you to take 3 bumblebee breaths while we're here. Remember, that's a nice inhale and then a very slow exhale while we let the lips vibrate. 3 of those. I find that bumblebee breath has a calming effect. Once you're finished, open your eyes, let both arms go up high overhead, interlace your fingers, but point the index finger up toward the ceiling. Now, we're going to do a side bend to the left, and I'm going to invite you, you're welcome to stay here, but I'm going to invite you to take the right foot and step it out so that only the right toe, the big toe in the right foot, is touching the mat. So we're in a kind of a balancing pose here, as well as stretching the right side. If you're having trouble with balance doing that today, keep that right foot flat on the mat. Now we'll come back up and bring the right foot back in and do a side bend over to the other side, to the right, stretching the left side. Left leg goes out, left toe stays on the mat. And back up, and the foot comes back. Now, we're going to move into stork pose, which is the balancing pose. And if you're near a wall, you might want to be back against that wall or be beside the wall. Either way, you'll be able to position yourself so that if you need the wall for support, you've got it. And if you don't need the wall for support, you'll be able to balance without it. In stork pose, we're going to begin by putting our hands on our hips. I'm going to start with my left leg. I'm going to come up onto the toes of the left leg, and I'm going to begin to ground into the right leg, letting my weight go into the right leg, right foot. Then I'm going to slowly bring that knee up on the left leg and point my toe down. Finally, I'm going to extend my arms out, palms face. I better use the wall. Palms face, and we're in stork pose. I think stork pose might have been the basis for one of the positions that was used in the Karate Kid. And we're going to release everything back down. Other side, I'm going to begin with hands on hips. I'm going to lift the right heel off the floor on my toes. Then I'm going to begin to lift my right knee up, right toes pointed. And once I get that knee up as high as I can comfortably, I'm going to extend my arms forward, palms facing. And just like me, if you lose the pose, feel free to come back to it. And release everything down to the mat. Now, if you're not at the top of your mat, you want to move to that position. Hands on hips, we're going to move into a warrior one pose. Left leg is going to go back. Now, in warrior one, our feet are on somewhat separate tracks. So the back foot is angled a bit, so it's not parallel to the short edge of the mat, but it's at an angle. The front knee in warrior one will be bent. Now, I want the shoulders to be parallel to the short edge of the mat as much as possible. So bring your hands to heart center, let the thumbs rest on the breastbone, and see how much capacity you might have to twist to the right. As you do that, you may find more stress in this back leg and back foot, and you may need to adjust the angle at which the foot is. Now, my hands are heart center, and to move into the full expression of warrior one, I'm going to raise my arms up high and gaze up at the ceiling. Now, if gazing at the ceiling negatively affects your balance, feel free to look back down at the ground or find some point in front of you that's not moving and fix on that point. I'm going to move into humble warrior by swinging the arms down, bringing the hands behind the back, interlacing the fingers, and folding over that front leg so that my belly comes down toward my front thigh. Try letting the head relax. If balance is an issue, you can release the hands and let them fall down toward the floor. That should help that. Wherever your hands are, bring them to the hips as you stand up straight and step that back foot up about half the distance. The front leg is straight, but there'll be at least a little micro bend in the knee. I don't want the knee fixed. I'm going to turn my torso toward that extended leg and begin to fold down over, letting my hands go down either side of the leg, inside and outside. Making sure there's a little bend in the knee, letting the head hang. As we move into pyramid pose, stretching the back of the right leg. Now, the next time you're ready to inhale, take a deep, slow inhale as you rise back up. Once you get up, bring your hands to your hips and bring both feet together. I'm going to turn and go to the other end of my mat. You won't need to do that, but I want you to be able to see well from this side. So on this side now, my right leg steps back. We're going to move into warrior one on this side. My right foot is angled. My feet are on separate tracks. Left knee bends. Hands come to heart center. And I see if I can turn to the left more, lining up my shoulders with the short edge of my mat. Now you can stay here, or you have the option of moving into the full expression of the pose by raising the arms up toward the ceiling. We'll move into humble warrior by sending the arms back behind the back, interlacing the fingers, and letting the torso fold over the thigh. Belly comes to the thigh. head can relax. And once again, if balance is an issue for you, you can always release your hands down toward the ground. Come back up and bring your hands to your hips. Step the back leg forward about half the distance. Front leg is straight with a micro bend in the knee. Turn the torso over that front leg and begin to fold over that leg, letting the hands go down, tracing both sides of the leg, inside and outside. Getting to the place where you can't fold anymore, letting the head hang. Now, the next time you're ready to inhale, take a deep, slow inhale and come all the way back up, bringing the hands to the hips. Now, I'd like you to move so you're facing the long edge of your mat. Send the legs out long. Turn the toes out at 45-degree angle. Bring the hands and arms into a cactus or goalpost arm position. Bend the knees, let the tailbone sink down, and we're in goddess pose. We're going to move through a little flow here with our goddess pose by stretching, coming all the way up. And as we come up, the left hand comes down to the left leg, and the right hand extends out over the right ear, stretching the right side. Then we move back into our goddess pose, arms in cactus position, knees bend, tailbone sinks. Other side, we extend up, right hand comes to right leg, left arm extends over the left ear, stretching the left side. Then we move back down into our goddess pose. Once again, we rise up, left hand, left leg. Right arm extends and back down in the goddess. Extending up, right hand to right leg, left arm extends. And back down to goddess. And come up, hands on hips. Very good. Step back to the top of your mat. Arms are by the sides. Let the hands come up together high overhead. Then turn the palms away, fold forward, bending the knees, planting the hands, and coming down onto the knees. We're back in our tabletop position. Shift the hips back toward the heels, and then swing the feet out and around, coming back down onto your back. Take a moment once you're on your back to relax, to settle, to soften, to sink into the mat. Bend the knees, bring both feet to the mat. Send the arms away in T position. Now, drop both knees to the right, whatever distance might be comfortable. And you have the option of letting your gaze go out over your left fingertips. So this position is called a spinal twist. One of the things that you can tell here is that the knees are moving in one direction while the head and neck move in the other. And we're giving a little twist to the spine. We tend to move through two different kinds of poses or positions in our yoga practice. Sometimes we're moving through a flow like we did just before we came back to our backs, where we were moving from goddess to a side stretch and back. And sometimes we move into a pose like this one, where we simply hold the pose. When we move into these kinds of positions, I always suggest to my students that they sink into the pose, that they find any muscles that they can relax. And oftentimes, it's easiest to start with the muscles between the eyebrows and in the jaw, maybe in the shoulders and arms. In poses like this one, there may be some muscles that are stretched and are tight, like the hip muscle on the top, for example. But other muscles might be tight that we could relax that are less directly involved in the pose. Bring the knees back up to center. Keep the arms out long. Let both knees fall over to the left and let the gaze go out over the right fingertips. Now that's an option if that's uncomfortable. You can let your gaze remain up to the ceiling. When we do a pose like this one and we switch from one side to the other, we frequently tighten muscles that we had just relaxed. So it's always helpful, I think, to go back after we've changed to the other side and reassess whether any muscles can be softened again. Let the knees come back to center. Bring the arms down by the sides. Cross the right ankle over the left thigh, just above the knee. And begin a rocking motion, taking the right foot off to the left and back. It doesn't have to be very far. You want to feel the right hip, and as you feel a stretch in the right hip, that stretch is probably your indicator of when you've gone far enough. So we have this rocking motion. As happens so frequently, we're not moving really fast here. And in fact, one of the things you might do is try and slow down the movement just a little bit. The next time your right foot is back up to center, let the foot come down to the mat and cross the left ankle over the right thigh, just above the knee, and begin this rocking motion once again. Left foot goes down to the right and then back up. And once again, the stress in the left hip may tell you when you've gone far enough. The next time, the left foot comes back up to center and the right knee is back to center, stop. Send the left foot to the mat and hug both knees into the chest. While you're here, rock gently side to side, giving some massage to the low back. Come to stillness, let both feet find the mat. We're going to move into our final resting pose, Shavasana. Let both legs go out long. Let the arms go long. Hands are down by the hips. In Shavasana, traditionally the palms face the ceiling, but that's always an option. While you're here in this pose, eyes closed. Begin, as we've done so several times today, by focusing on the body and relaxing any muscles that might be tight, tense, softening, sinking into the mat. And as you do that, turn your focus to your breath, noticing the breath as it comes into the body and goes out. And associate once more your exhale with relaxation. At each exhale, the body begins to relax a little more and sink a little more into the mat. With each exhale, the body releases. Try and keep your mind clear of thoughts, but if, as they inevitably do, thoughts come floating in, recognize them. Don't judge, just recognize and watch them float back out, keeping the mind empty and clear. We'll stay in our Shavasana pose here for another 2 or 3 minutes, relaxing and perhaps accruing some of the benefits of the practice. Begin to deepen your breath and a little movement back into your body. Open and close your fingers and your toes. Bend and flex, and then straighten your wrists and your ankles. Straighten and bend the elbows. And gently turn your head side to side. Come to stillness and roll over to one side or the other. And gently make your way up into a comfortable seated position. Let the arms be long in the hands down by the sides. Raise the hands up, palms come together overhead, and then the hands come down to heart center. May the sun bring you new happiness by day. May the moon softly restore you by night. May the rain wash away your worries and the wind blow new strength into your being. May you walk gently through the world and see its beauty. Namaste.